Hey everybody, I'm Marquis Devereaux, your host of Verbal Assault Livestream. I am coming to you today about a political podcast. We come to you from left, right, and center. I have with joining me today our panelists. Our first panelist is Cherokee Black. She is an international model. She is an editor and an author. Hello, Cherokee. How are you, honey?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Okay. I have Mr. Kirk Adair, author, historian, and documentarian. Hello, Kirk.
Hello, Marcus. How are you?
Okay. I've been better, but anyway, we'll go with that later. It's been a very challenging week for me, and I'm sure for some of you as well with this hot weather. Mr. Brian Parker, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Brian Parker, can
Yes,
you hear
sir.
me?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
I'm doing good.
Okay, I didn't hear your response, but Mr. Brian Parker is a parent. He is a graduate of the University of North Carolina, and he is also a Democratic activist. Rob Arnold, host of Political Firestorm, and he is also someone who always has the last word, right, Rob?
First, middle, and last word. No, I mean, look, if somebody has a point that I hadn't thought of, I'm pretty quick to say, hey, that's a great point. I didn't think of that.
And Nurka Encarnacion, she is someone I like to refer to as our Afro-Democratic activist. Nurka is someone who does not necessarily support Black Lives Matter, and she likes to research information, and she always says, do your research, and she finds her version of the truth, what she believes is the truth. How are you, Nurka?
I'm doing great, but I'm from the Caribbean.
You are from the Caribbean, but
yes,
you're in the Caribbean?
Huh?
Is that what you said?
Dominican Republic, El Caribe.
Okay, I'm missing something there, but I'm gonna come back to you in a second. And my co-host of the show, Mr. Samuel Kuchera. He is somebody who makes sure he checks me when I am up on all my facts and when I seem to be leaning a little too much against Trump. Isn't that correct, Samuel?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
And I think everybody should be checked, not just Trump, even me. Check me too.
So I'm going to try to move a little bit faster on this program today because we have been going a little bit long on our intro. And today's subject, Monday the 29th, we have Democratic upsets predicted in primaries, the AOC effect. Many are saying Joe Biden is out of step and that he has supported racist policies. Should a primary still be happening? Samuel, what do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How else are we going to get to the elections? Absolutely.
Well,
let's show and provide the world that this man is not mentally fit.
You're saying that Joe Biden is not mentally fit for office?
Clearly not.
Clearly not. Absolutely. Tell him, Rob. Tell him, Brian. I know Brian's going to say something.
Brian, I don't even know if that, I don't even know if what we've seen in the last 3.5 years should even get a response from the left. But Brian, what's your response to that?
You know, me personally, I have a problem with 274-plus-year-old men being president anyway because of that. Anybody that thinks that once you hit 70 years old, you don't start to lose a step, you've probably lost a step. With reality. So me personally, and when you heard Trump go on Sean Hannity the other day and give some of the most incoherent answers, yet you're not equivocating that to anything that you've heard Joe Biden say, that again is where you're playing your partisan politics. Both of them have lost a step.
It's a matter of degree.
Well, and you're going to say that. How much of a degree is it when you ask him, what is he going to do for the next 4 years? And he talks about sleeping over in Washington and knowing more people now, and I'm from here and I'm from there. And he never answers the damn question about what he wants to do over the next 4 years.
Well, what you don't understand about Donald Trump, and none of you Trump haters do, he's always on that macro level of thought. He's a macro level guy. So he'll say things, he thinks he's giving them perfectly fine answer because he's in this macro place. It does get a little frustrating, I'll hand you that, because
He was rambling, Rob. Just say he rambled. Just
He
a
wasn't
minute.
rambling. He
Rob,
thinks on a macro
Look,
level.
Rob, Kayleigh McEnany is not going
That's
to
not
give
a
you the
hard
job.
concept to follow, Brian.
Rob,
It's not a hard concept to follow. He thinks in the
Kayleigh
macro,
McEnany is not going to
answers on
give
the
up her
macro.
job.
You know, I'm going to
don't have
interject
audition.
here for a second. Nurka Encarnacion. Both of these people, as Brian Parker has pointed out, are Caucasian males in their 70s.
Mhm.
Why do you think we don't have a woman or a person of color that's in a higher standing right now, as far as the election is concerned?
We don't have one because we haven't had a proper one. I mean, I'm really not into, as you know, I'm not into women, black, white. I'm into the person who's gonna do the right thing. I'm into the person who's coming out and going for the job. The reason why, first of all, let's look at AOC and her other minions. Those ladies are not even fit to be in Congress. The things that they come out and they say, it's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, mind-boggling. And these videos that I've seen AOC show, I want to be a member of. I don't have Twitter. I want to be on Twitter just so that I can respond to her because she's so stupid.
Yeah.
So why would you say
Wrong with
that?
that one.
Why would you say that Alexandra Ocasio was stupid? But
Oh, there's
why
something
would you
wrong
say
with that
she's
woman.
stupid?
That woman got.
What is wrong with her? What is wrong with speaking up for the underserved?
Did you ever
The
read
underemployed.
the new Green Deal?
You know what? Because for the underserved, you don't need to speak up. What you need to do is take action. That's what needs to be done. Shut the fuck up. Do something.
Why would you say she needs to shut the fuck up when she's always articulating?
Because she needs to do
points of view.
something, not talk so much crap. That's what she needs to do.
What
She
can
needs
she
to
do?
take action.
What can she do? She has one vote in Congress. She has one vote in
Okay.
Congress. What do
No,
you
no,
want her
she's
to
got more
do?
than that, Brian. She's got influence in Congress.
Cherokee
what she-
Black.
that's what she's doing.
Cherokee Black. Nurka says that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez needs to shut the fuck up. A woman of color wants another woman of color to shut the
Oh,
fuck
you
up.
with your identity politics. It doesn't matter. It could be a girl, a guy, a woman.
Sorry.
There's always identity politics with you guys. What the hell?
But you know
AOC
what? I would think a
she's
woman of
half
color
brain
would
matter,
represent another woman of color. If I may, a woman of color should represent another woman of color, should they not?
So a black man killing another black man, he should just go ahead and do that, right? That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And white men
We don't want the white
men
cops to do it. So we don't want the white cops to do it. So a black man telling another black man, don't kill the black people, that's bad because according to Marquis, a woman telling another woman of color to shut the fuck up seems to be a bad thing.
You're equivocating tell somebody to shut the fuck up with killing them?
Because black people are killing black people, but we're picking
White people kill white people too, and I actually looked up the statistic, and the statistic is higher for white on white crime.
Correct.
Right.
Well, no, not per
Okay,
capita, but we're not even
how about
talking
that?
about all that. We're in a very specific context here.
So if a woman of color wants to tell another woman of color to shut the fuck up, why not?
That's
She
her
can speak up,
prerogative.
that's right. Let her speak
That's
up.
her prerogative. That's right. Free speech.
You know, when she said
And
that
if a
there's
white
nothing going on,
woman tells a woman of color shut the fuck up, then it's like, oh my goodness, she's a racist. It's just
No,
stupid.
if a white woman tells me to shut the fuck up and she doesn't have a relevant reason for that, I'm gonna punch her in her face.
Damn right. Amen.
Mike,
Amen.
Wait a minute, hold it.
I want to be right next to you, Cherokee.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank
I'll film it.
This is the true assault and the verbal assault today.
Mhm.
Basically, what I'm trying to ask is, do we feel that women and people of color are getting proper representation in government? Nurka, back to you with the question. You're shaking your head. I'm
Well,
going to
because
pivot.
I'm shaking my head because I cannot think of just color. I think of the human. I think of how in general it's being. I don't think about color because first of all, I'm not gonna sit here and deal with all of this fraud that is going on and think that is happening to me because of color. It's because of that. You know, people wanna they wanna reach this high level of monetary without at any cost. Because if we talk about color, how about all of the black people who are members of the Freemasonry, who are working for the KKK, who are doing this to us?
Excuse me, your mic is off and you sound very garbled and it's hurting everyone's ears, but nobody's telling you. What you're saying is relevant, but your mic is off.
And with some of the things that, you and Yurka, with some of the things that I've heard you say, some people might say your point of view is garbled. So I'm going to jump right quick over to Kirk Adair. Kirk Adair, I need you to help me make some sense here. Here we are again after having a biracial president for 8 years. We feel the United States has made progress. And then we have 3.5 years of Trump, Mexicans, derogatory language, women, derogatory language, black people, derogatory language, immigrants, derogatory language. Is this what we have to look forward to in this presidential race between Trump and Biden?
Oh boy.
Well, that's a moot point.
But why would you say that?
You know, Biden has made some very stupid racial remarks like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. That's dumb. Second of all, Biden championed the Clinton crime bill, 3 strikes and you're out.
Right.
He also said he did not want his children to be mixed with black children because it would be like mixing in the jungle. I read
Did
that.
say that. That was years ago. And yeah, he said that.
Well, he said that doesn't go away in my head.
No, right.
And I researched it.
Didn't he say that you had to speak Indian in order to work at 7-Eleven, or
Pretty much something like that.
Something like that.
So
I'm calling him Jim Crow Joe. That's Jim Crow Joe.
We all agree that Biden is not the new black. My question still remains, with 2 Caucasian males running for office, women and people of color and immigrants, and those who are not in the 1%, are they being represented? Kirk Adair, I still haven't gotten clarity in regards to that part of the question.
Well, you have 2 Caucasians running for president. That's what the 2 parties have put forward, because that's what corporate America has put forward. When you're looking at representation, you're looking at representation across the board. And corporate America, you don't see that because they don't get promoted, okay? And if they do get into a position like the senator from Massachusetts, the African-American senator from Massachusetts, or Colin Powell, they get threatened. I mean, Colin Powell was going to be proposed for the Republican candidate before Donald Trump. They wanted him to run. And he talked to his wife, and his wife said, I don't want you dead. You're not running. That's it.
I remember that. That's right.
That's a lot of time.
And what year was that, Kirk Adair?
That was about the same time that Trump was running. Before Trump was before they went to Trump to ask him to run, they went to Colin Powell to ask him to run because he's not basically controlled by the, whatever you want to call it, the New World Order, the dark state. He was not. And he was Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was somebody that was looked up to by all of America. And quite frankly, he declined because, and he was just about the same age that Trump was.
I didn't hear that word, Kirk. He was a what?
He was about the same age as Trump, okay. Colin Powell. But the thing was that when his wife said, I don't want you dead, okay, he didn't run.
It was realistic. It was justifiable, basically. It made sense.
It's not just about possible assassination. There's a guy by the name of Mitch Daniels, who was the budget director for the Bush White House, massive job, who later went on to be governor of Indiana, did a fantastic job as governor. The man is just brilliant. Everybody, all quarters, everybody says he's brilliant. He was looking to run. His wife said, oh, hell no. His wife was like, no. Because it really disrupts your entire family life. It disrupts everything to run for president. And you can't live a normal life anymore. Also, even when you're out of the White House, you've got Secret Service around you the rest of your life.
Following you everywhere.
Yeah, true.
A lot of people, they don't want that in their lives. I'll tell you all a quick, funny little story, though, about Secret Service and as it relates to vice president. When I first got back to New York, I decided I've had a lot of experience with trees. You know, I owned a nursery, co-owned a giant nursery. I decided I'm just ducking at everything. I'm just going to sell some Christmas trees. So I'm sitting on the bench at a big place out here on the Upper West Side near the museum. And this guy walks up. I'm just getting ready to leave. It's like 9 o'clock. I said, oh, one last customer. He says, you spotted the customer, did you? And I say, well, no, sir. I saw a man and his family looking for a Christmas tree. So he smiled and shook my hand. As we're walking, we need the biggest tree you got. Well, sir, that's it. And we're walking up the side. I'm looking like this. I'm looking over. And the grandchildren with him are looking at me nodding. I'm like, you must get it every day. You look like Al Gore. So he chuckles. And he gives me this look. So it is Al Gore. I know this. So then we finally get to the point where, okay, you are the former vice president. I shake his hand. I say, where's your Secret Service? And the answer is, if you're vice president, you have 10 years by law, you must have Secret Service. After 10 years, you can say no more. So
really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I learned that from a vice president. And he and I got into it. Oh, boy, did we get into it. It was fireworks back and forth the whole time, the whole Christmas tree process, the buying process, into the merch tent, all the merchandise. He was buying a lot of stuff, getting a $30 tip. It was all cool. It was all in good fun. His daughter was having...
So speaking of confining, I'm going to confine us back to the subject. Women, blacks, and gays are emerging in Democratic primaries. And I'd like to ask some people on the left, what is motivating this sudden surge? Cherokee Black, what do you think is happening as a woman of color? Identity politics.
That's ridiculous.
I just think that younger people are becoming more engaged and paying attention to what's going on, and they're seeking some kind of change. I don't think that they have enough experience. They don't have. Of course, they need more experience with what they're doing. They're new to it, but I think that it'll be better for the country.
Well, wait a minute, Cherokee. There's another thing. Their frontal lobes are not fully developed yet, so that's important to look at.
That's what I just said.
No, you said experience.
I said experience goes with that. Come on.
Lack of experience is one thing. Lack of full development of the frontal lobe is another.
So we have said that experience happens with the job.
Lord.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez is a superstar on the left as far as making certain unheard subjects priority. The Green New Deal, New York Encarnacion, what makes your feathers so ruffled when we talk about AOC?
She gives a lot of explanations that do not make any sense. Many questions that she's been asked, she doesn't know how to answer. She refuses to give interviews if she doesn't have one of her, well, it's not that she refuses, but she doesn't give interview unless she's given permission to give the interview. So that to me, it looks fake. Because if you're running for that type of position, you should be able to answer everybody's questions and everybody's concerns.
Okay. I love the fact that you talk about everybody's questions and everybody's concerns. Brian Parker, if I were speaking to a left-wing pundit, we would be describing Trump.
Incoherent.
He's not incoherent at all. Woo. Where do you even get that from? The man gives speeches that are speeches for ages.
No. He gives speeches where he repeats himself when he can't elaborate on certain subjects. And some of his Twitter rants are incoherent.
Look, if you want to cherry pick something here or there, go right ahead. And
no, this isn't cherries. This is a basket.
No, it's a cherry pick.
Yeah,
One basket. Okay, all right, Marquis. You got a basket of cherries. We're talking about an orchard of cherries.
Why is it cherry picking when you can quote something that Donald Trump says, but if Biden gives a speech and he doesn't have energy
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The number of flubs that Donald Trump has as compared with the number of times he's perfectly coherent. With Joe Biden, it's reversed. He's hardly ever coherent. It's flub, flub, flub. The guy doesn't even know where the hell he is half the time. This guy once complained, just the other day, he complained that a wheel fell off his canoe. That's a joke.
You drinking beer?
And Donald Trump just admitted the other day that Joe Biden would be the president because people don't love him.
Yeah, but
Brian, I have a question for you, Brian.
But that's it. That's it. Like, it's personal. Everybody here has made it personal. When
no, it's not personal. No, it's not personal.
Oh, yes, it is.
Joe Biden.
Tell me why you don't like the man. It's
Joe Biden misspeaks.
No, it's not really.
We know that he has
Tell me something that's not personal, Brian. At some point when Marquis is done.
Okay. Okay. You know, we know that Joe.
Question. Brian, did you see the rally last weekend?
Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second, please. I was trying to say that Joe Biden, we know he has a certain speech disability because of something, and Kirk might know about this.
He has a stuttering problem.
Is that what it is? It's a stuttering issue. So it causes him to misspeak. But we also know that there are certain things that he's done in the past that were not in the best interests of people of African descent, that were not necessarily in the best interests of women.
Correct.
Jim Crow Joe.
I guess people can't evolve. I guess people can't evolve, though, right?
We're not monkeys.
They can't evolve. If they can evolve,
Trump can never evolve.
What would be the message for Joe Biden? What is Joe Biden's message running into the election? Does he even have a message?
No.
Anybody?
Black.
Joe Biden did say, this is important, Joe Biden did say he would drop out of the race. Donald Trump let him stick his hair.
Rob Arnold, that question was directed to Cherokee Black. Are you white-splaining?
I couldn't hear for the talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. I was trying to speak
for 5 seconds. Cherokee, what was the question to you?
I don't remember because you were talked over it.
Exactly.
All right. I would love someone to give me Joe Biden's message. Running into the president.
And then I directed that to Cherokee.
Mm-hmm.
Cherokee, you say what? What say you?
I say that we're arguing about two old men running for office, and both of them have issues to me. I am a Democrat. I'm going to vote for Biden. I have friends who are of color that after reading certain things about Biden, they are not voting. And that's the problem. So you're saying they're not going to vote at all? Wait a minute. I don't see a message or future anything coming from either one of them. I think that Trump.
And I think you have a good point.
Both of them are babbling. So I always vote since I'm 18. I'm going to vote. I make my son vote. He meets me and we go vote. So I'm voting. But I'm just saying it's a bit, I don't know which is the worst of the two evils, really.
We know that Trump's message has always been quite clear. It's America first policy.
Period.
So everything that
America does not include people of color.
That's damn sure not
personal.
Things that are not cool.
As we are debating this,
smarter Black Americans are coming after him, and he's going to get about probably 30% of the Black vote.
I'm going to interject here. As we are debating this,
those are the ones
Trump had guys.
Guys. Okay.
Guys, if you hear me speaking, please don't talk over me. Give me a moment, please. We got a note from production. Trump posted a tweet of a video of protesters facing Trump supporters. The Trump supporter in the video yelled, "White power." The tweet was eventually deleted. Mm-hmm. That is something that the right doesn't like to talk about.
Well, wait a minute. So Black people can yell Black power all they want, but somebody yells white power. It's some kind of horrible thing. Shut up.
So
Trump supporters
we know
smarter people than the people that hate Trump. The anti-Trump movement is grounded in lies, in hate, in abject stupidity, in one-dimensionalism. It's all one-dimensional stuff. Smarter people know way better than to think all this crap. It doesn't.
But you do realize But you do realize that you're a white male that doesn't connect with what the issues are as far as.
It's simply not true. So as a black man, are you not able to connect with what white people are talking about? You do it. So in other words, hold on, Yurka. Hold on, please. Hey, Marquis. So in white America, there are all kinds of moving parts, all this, that, and the other. Are you saying that as a black man, you can't identify with any of what that is on a human level?
So
my question is, why is it that black people can say black power and a white person cannot say white power?
Because we came to this country as property, and we're still looking for equality, full equality.
Okay, so let me ask.
How you gonna find full equality when we can't
ladies, you are yelling. Ladies, you are yelling. Do you guys feel that it's necessary for white people to get more power? Is this what you're saying, Rob Arnold?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's
First
what it
off,
sounds like.
Well,
so
let me clarify.
That's what it sounds like.
Well, I'll clarify for you. Number one, I'm going to say that in this country, all people have all kinds of power. If you work hard and you make every effort, you can, I don't care what shade of what color you are, you can make the grade.
Right. Except
wait a minute. As far as power, I'm just saying, if somebody yells white power, they're really only doing that in response to the whole black power narrative of black power with the fist held up. A white person can go ahead and respond to that all the hell they want. And anybody that doesn't like that they do it can shut the fuck up.
Okay, so let me,
you know what?
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Everybody stop. Everybody stop.
Go ahead.
Let me give you an example. Would you mind telling me who's the host of this show?
Brian Parker.
He should be. Because I don't know any show that I could get on as a correspondent and talk over the host and be invited back.
Apologies.
That's the difference between white power and black power.
Oh, brother.
I'm the host of and executive producer of the show, and I have to ask to be heard. Should never happen. That's one example. The second example, when we speak about black power, when we had people hanging from trees, we need black power. Kirk Adair, did we need black power when people were being lynched? Did we need it then?
Well, what you need is focused black power, not standing in the street, jumping up and down, screaming, and allowing yourselves to be baited, okay, which is actually what's happening right now. You're being baited, okay? You're being baited by Antifa, you're being baited by Soros, all right?
You know, Kirk,
let me finish.
I had a conversation with someone.
Let me finish. All right.
Go ahead.
What you do need is focused black power in the candidates that are running, in the issues. It's getting people out to vote. That is concentrated and focused black power, which I totally approve of. I think that because you have to deal with the system, you have to understand the system and then deal with the system in order to correct the system.
You're absolutely right. So Brian Parker, we should have understood redlining in order to fix it. We did not. We should have understood enslavement in order to fix it. We did not. We should have understood that we were not going to be able to take out bank loans and buy homes because we were considered 3/5 of a person, and we had to demand and sit at lunch counters in order to be heard. Brian Parker, tell me about black power. What does it mean to you, and why is it necessary to you if it's necessary?
That answer would be way too long, but I'll just say this. For people to speak out of their mouths when their race hasn't been put down for over 400 years, dragged to a country, separated from their families, given different names, making it hard for them to trace back their heritage. For folks to look at you as an animal, half of a person, to constantly put you down And a phrase of Black power is meant to inspire Black folks to realize that they can be more than what white folks have deemed us being good at.
Very nicely put.
Hold on, because you always.
No, don't.
It was very nicely put, for fuck's sake.
Hold on.
I don't even want that. I don't even want that.
Hold on. And I'm going to say hold on because Mr. Kirk-Adair said Black people need to do this. This is what I approve of.
Right.
Brian Parker, as soon as Cherokee Black went to speak, he spoke over her. Yorka Encarnacion, she wanted to add a question and she was spoken over 4 times. I want you all to realize the actions that you take because this is a microcosm of our society at large. When we're talking over women, when we feel that Black people who have a position of authority, that we don't have to respect that authority, when we feel that if someone is demanding their rights, they need to do it in the way that we want them to do it, or we don't acknowledge that.
Correct.
And clearly, certain people haven't been acknowledged, which is why someone got a knee in the neck. Would you not agree with me, Robert?
Well, what I would say to you is that there are over 5,000 cities run by Black.
My question is, would you not agree?
No, I don't agree with your narrative because I'll tell you why. Black power is already very big in this country.
But how can you say that as a Caucasian man?
Well, I'm giving you an answer. I don't have to. It doesn't matter what the hell color I am. It's about factual data. Will you stop? I'm giving you an answer.
It is not. It is not.
Hey.
It is not.
It's about factual data. Hey.
It's not data. And I'm going to tell you
not data. Over 5,000 cities run by Black mayors, many doing a fine job. You want to hear the facts?
Excuse me. When you guys on the right has spoken about Black on Black crime, and I've asked you about white on white crime, not one of you had an answer. Don't tell me about data. Your data is flawed. It's very flawed. So I'm going to move. I'm going to put a damper on the conversation for a second. The last question that I have, and I know Sam has a few questions that he wants to ask, is Schumer is a minority leader from New York, another Caucasian male. This is just an observation. We don't like to talk about it because it makes us uncomfortable. He could be challenged in his race. Pelosi could be challenged in her race. Mm-hmm. They also could be challenged when new people come to the Senate or new people come from into the Congress on the Democratic side. Do we feel that, Samuel, do we feel that Schumer and Pelosi should feel threatened?
Absolutely. They've done horrible jobs in the entire time of this 4-year history of our country at the moment, and they've had zero message. They've had practically zero output. And skipping back to AOC just for a moment, AOC's only message that I can really recall that was really powerful. She had 2 actually. One was, don't let Amazon come set up in New York. And the second one was when she put forth that Congress should get a raise. Those are the only 2 important messages that I can recall from AOC. As far as Pelosi and Schumer, well, now AOC being misinfluencer, she wants to take Schumer's position.
You think so? Why would you say that?
Because she's going for it. That's the latest news.
Who told you that? Where did you get that?
That's the latest news.
Where did you get that from?
AOC is planning to run for Schumer's position.
That sounds like a distraction.
Well, it doesn't matter what.
She has said nothing in any media I have listened to. Nothing.
She has not.
It's her trajectory, and it's obvious.
So the thing that we don't like to talk about, women, the 2 women on our panel have to yell to be heard. And the other thing that we don't like to talk about, people of color are establishing themselves, and we're telling them, go back to shithole countries, go back to where you came from, but they're from here.
Ain't anything like that.
That was
really? I got it for the news.
No, Donald Trump said shithole countries as it relates to a few countries out there where you got terrorism.
Well, why is any country called a shithole?
Because it is a shithole. If you have nothing but violence everywhere, what the hell? Look, you're so one-dimensional on this stuff. It's unbelievable. Like if I try to tell you about the power that Black America now has in response to...
You can't tell me about the power that Black America has because you don't know. You
Yeah,
can't.
I don't know.
Cannot.
I have a lot of facts.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't. And I want.
I don't?
Okay.
Oh, I have to be black to understand all things black? That's just too
now-
stupid for words.
Right now,
Okay.
It requires
Can
a
I say
level
something?
of humility. I do not know what power women have because I'm not a woman. I don't know what power trans people have because I'm not trans.
Yeah, we can see where women have power. What the hell's the matter with you?
You cannot see what women go through in its entirety.
I can have empathy for what they go through while I see where they've gotten. Same thing
Then
with
you
black.
say that. Then you say that
How
you
could
have
I-
empathy.
Anybody can see
You
that.
cannot make an assumption.
Any
Rob
woman
Arnold.
can see. Wait a minute. Any woman can see where men have come into
Brian-
power. Why can men?
Excuse me. Brian never finished his thought.
Actually, he gave a fantastic narrative, and I had an answer to it.
But he wasn't.
And then Marquis just jumped all over me in 5 seconds.
Well, you know something? I jumped over you because you are an awesome contributor to the program.
Oh, that's why you jumped over the awesome guy.
But the problem is that my speaking takes precedent over everybody.
Of course, but you asked me a question. I started to give an answer.
Of course.
In 5 seconds.
It's not
You
of
were all over
course.
me.
It's not of course because today it was off course.
I'm telling you that when you asked me a question and I started to give an answer, you cut me right off.
I'm telling you.
You don't want to hear the truth.
You just did it again. I'm telling you that we have to respect everybody. Brian Parker, you asked, why are you here? Why do you think you're here?
I guess to watch this train wreck.
But what's wrecked, brother? What do you think is wrecked? You sound like you're frustrated and you're ready to give up.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Brian, I would like you to get back to what you were saying about black people, 400 years of slavery. When we're talking about black power, white power, because I'd like to ask questions.
And it happens quite often that certain people don't want to hear. They don't want to hear about enslavement, Brian.
I know.
They don't want to hear the black thing. Why do we always have to talk about black?
Yeah, we should get over it.
So why do we need to talk about it?
Yeah, we need to get over it.
Living in the past.
Living in the past.
Yeah.
It's not living in the past. Our ancestors were castrated, raped, the men and the women. A lot of things happened to us.
Cherokee,
I'm came here as property. We're trying to get rights that you are privileged to have because you built this country on our
nowhere near that simple.
On our ancestors' blood.
Not even anywhere near that
That's
simple.
what the issue is. That's
It's
why
the one-dimensional stuff.
Black power.
That's one-dimensional.
You see how defensive they get when you start talking about
It's
it?
not about being defensive.
Okay, Yurka, go ahead and
Can I jump in?
What was the question, Yurka? Please rephrase. Rephrase the question, please.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I learned that I read the book Frederick Douglass. That's when I learned about slavery because I was brought to this country when I was 6 years old. I had no idea.
The books in this country don't tell me.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Please finish. I can give you less than 30 seconds.
And in the 3rd grade, I learned that power comes from knowledge. Simple as that.
Right.
Okay. So, Yurka, you are a woman of color. And if you are uncomfortable with that, I apologize.
I am not uncomfortable. I am very proud.
Good. So when I talk about women and I talk about people of color, when Black people are asking for their power, what makes you uncomfortable?
Well, because it's the way that you ask it. I mean, you have to have knowledge in what you're speaking about. Because even when we talk about slavery, not everyone in this country of color was enslaved. There were Black people who owned slaves too. And
the Black people in this country
first
that were free men.
Cherokee, don't scream because we can't hear you if you're screaming. Okay. Speak. Here you go. Rephrase.
I mean, this is information.
No, Yurka, no. Hold on. Go ahead, Cherokee.
The Black people who were free when this slavery thing happened were enslaved. Their property was stolen, just like the Native Americans. And that's a fact. The books in America, I don't know about other countries, but leaves out many, many, many crucial facts about that horrid situation, including castrations, everything. And some of that shit is still going on today when they shoot our sons and our daughters and in the back. And, you know, everybody else can be taken down and taken to the precinct and have a fair trial. Black people are just killed. Put your knee in my neck. That's not equality.
Way
That's
more
not
white men get
equality.
killed by cops than black men. It's not even close.
Oh, come on, Rob, please.
I'm telling you.
During
You
the
know what are the facts?
segregation,
You said
because
way.
I
Way more.
researched the prison system here. During the segregation, it was white people that were in jail, not black people. And black people own their own businesses, in which somebody came out and said, "Why are we getting segregated when we live better when we were apart?"
Why did white people burn down Black Wall Street?
So thank you, Turkey.
We were a threat because we had power. How about that?
So I'm going to close the show.
Those racists were scumbags.
Everybody, one moment. One moment, please, everybody. I don't know why anybody's speaking.
Marquis, one second. I just want to say,
guys, I have less than 5 minutes.
Got you. Speaking as a black man, and a black man that's traveled to about 18 countries already, I would like to say that I think that racism is taken a little bit too far. I believe that we do have opportunity in this country, and that is evident because I wasn't here, but we did have a black president. So when we say that that we cannot rise to the top, I believe, and I think everybody would agree, that being a president of the U.S. is the top. So I think
there are issues unless
you know something. I don't want anybody else to say another word.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
And if I tell you not to talk, don't add it.
Fine.
I just wanted to.
You know, I have to close the show today, and I have to ask myself why I come here. I've been disrespected by 2/3 of my panel today, not intentionally, but because people are so passionate, they must be heard. And since they must be heard, when a person goes into their pocket to create a platform where they get people from both sides, the fact that someone feels comfortable enough to challenge a person of color in authority, and unfortunately, my sister that comes from the Caribbean doesn't understand, in my view, as the host of the show, why there were sit-ins at Woolworths, why there were boycotts in Harlem, why there were people that were getting locked up just to be heard. When you open your mouth, did you hear my tone change? When you open your mouth and you cannot be heard, I had to tell several of you, stop, because you don't care what I'm saying as the host of the show. And this is what happens in Black America every single day. Rob Arnold, still invite you back. New York Encarnacion, I still invite you back. Kirkadere, I still invite you back. And you guys show up. But I want you to look at what happened.
Are you saying something about me?
I am including you in the conversation. I want you all to observe. I didn't interrupt
you, but I did now.
Yes, you did. And I said, nobody speak, please. I asked you. I shouldn't have to ask. Please. This is the closing of the show. But this is very, very important for our audience to be able to hear all sides. In order to hear all sides, we have to be able to take some understanding of what point someone is trying to get across. When someone has to kneel and we complain about where they did it and how they did it, they're going to take more drastic measures. When someone puts a fist in the air and they're not heard, they're going to take drastic measures. So if someone goes to the point where they take a gun and put it to your head, you might pay attention. You might pay attention. Thank you guys for tuning into Verbal Assault live stream. I'm your host, Marquis Devereaux. I want to thank my panelists for contributing. It's been a challenging weekend. It's a challenging Monday, and I am looking forward to having you guys on tomorrow's program. Whew. Disappointing Tulsa turnout. Trump gets hissy. Thank you all for tuning into Verbal Assault live stream. Bye-bye.